But we begin with the fallout from Sunday's European Parliament elections. Despite high-profile wins by far-right parties in some places, the center-right European People's Party maintains its grip on power. But it's facing pressure from both sides of the political spectrum, and a stable governing alliance is far from guaranteed. In France, politicians are racing to organize their campaigns. President Emmanuel Macron announced snap general elections will take place in just 3 weeks from now. His decision came over the weekend after the far-right National Rally dealt his centrist party a defeat in the EU Parliament vote. For more on the fallout of the European Parliament election, Klaus Larres joins us. He's a professor of history and international affairs at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. He's also a fellow at the Wilson Center. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Nice to be here.
Professor, explain for our audience what the far-right gains mean and the impact on Parliament.
Well, the far right has gained. Now they are more or less making up 1/5 of the 720 seats in the European Parliament. While that is an improvement to what they had before, it is not a revolution. So I think all the media reports which see the far right, overwhelming the European Parliament is not quite correct. The conservative centrists, Ursula von der Leyen's party, still make up the vast majority of the parliamentary seats in Europe. So as far as consequences are concerned, the Parliament has shifted a little bit to the right, this is true, to an anti-immigrant policy, to a more nationalist policy, but it is by no means a revolution. I think the drama which has developed in the recent couple of days is because of President Macron's decision to dissolve his own French Parliament and to call for new elections in France. I think that really has added a lot of drama to it.
Well, a lot to get through, so we're going to pause on that. But what are the implications for EU policy going forward? As you mentioned, this was a gain on the far right, but centrists still hold steady. What do you think we'll see here?
Well, to be honest, we don't quite know yet. It depends a little bit who is going to be the EU Commission president in the future. As we all know, Ursula von der Leyen has applied for a second term. She's standing again and wants to be reappointed. If she is being reappointed, then I think not much will change. Policy towards Russia, policy towards China, policy towards the United States is in all likelihood going to continue more or less along the way as it was now. If Ursula von der Leyen is being replaced by some other politician, then of course the game is up again, and then we have to see who that person will be and what policy preferences that person has. But on the whole, I would say the kind of center-right conservative policy of the European Parliament will continue for the time being.
You see the media reports after all of this and everything online, social media. Were the results a surprise across Europe?
Not really. All the opinion polls indicated that the Reyes would gain seats as they have. Actually, exceptionally, when you look back at previous elections, the opinion polls recently have been quite wrong. But this time round, regarding the European elections, the opinion polls were actually quite correct. So the right has gained, but not in a totally dramatic, revolutionary way. It's still, we have to worry. The extreme right should not rise at all. So that is worrying, and you wonder what people are thinking, what are their concerns are, what are their worries are, that they have decided to vote for extreme right parties. And what the other parties should do, they should not just condemn these voters, they should wonder what has gone wrong, why do voters vote for the extreme right? So they should find solutions to their worries and their concerns. And I think that hopefully will be done in the next 5 years.
You touched on this, but let's go back to it. What do you make of President Macron's immediate decision to call elections? Were you surprised by that? What kind of a gamble is that for him?
I was absolutely surprised, and I think most analysts have been surprised by that. Personally, I think it's an unwise decision. It can be understood on the spur of the moment, because in France, the right did gain a lot of votes. Macron's party got something like 14%. The extreme right, Marine Le Pen's party, got over 30%. So that is quite a difference. And Macron was disappointed. He also believes, it appears, that the European elections were a protest vote. So he is asking the French people, please go back and vote again, and then you vote in the right way, in a more centralist, more center way. And I think that is what he hopes the French electorate will do. This is a gamble, as you rightly said, because the French voters may say, no, we did vote the right way, or the way we wanted to vote, and you asking us again to vote is really a sign of arrogance, it's not justified. So they may vote actually again in a very similar way to the vote they just cast. And when you think back about Britain and Brexit, when David Cameron as Prime Minister also went to the polls and believed that no surprises could be expected, which of course badly backfired, and the British people did go for Brexit. So this time round, the French people may go for Le Pen's party, and Le Pen and her party may really be the one which dominates the French parliament in the future. And they will install the new prime minister. And then Macron would really be in a very poor situation regarding his political politics.
Yeah, well, to see what happens in 3 weeks just before the Summer Olympic Games in Paris. Klaus Larres, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.